When the alien fleet first arrived in the Sol system, they found nothing but silence. Earth was dead. The blue planet had turned gray, covered in dust and shadows. The cities were broken skeletons of glass and metal. No human voices, no signals, no resistance. Admiral Threx of the Dravari Empire looked at the ruined world and smiled. "So it's true," he said. "The humans finally destroyed themselves. For centuries, the Dravari had feared humanity. The humans were unpredictable, emotional, and terrifying in war. When the human coalition vanished after the last interstellar war, the galaxy whispered in relief. No more human rage, no more reckless courage, no more endless wars. But something about the silence felt wrong. Their scanners showed no human life signs, but deep under the ashes of New York, an automated signal pulsed once every hour, weak, old, forgotten, yet still running. "Probably a machine glitch," said a young officer. "Check it anyway," Threx ordered. A small probe descended through the thick dust and broken towers. It reached the source, an underground bunker sealed by heavy armor doors. The probe extended a claw, touched the surface, and then the signal stopped. "Sir, the transmission is gone," Threx frowned. "Gone? Did you destroy it?" "No, Admiral. It shut itself down." Then the entire probe feed went dark. For the first time in years, Threx felt something he hadn't felt since the human wars. Fear. He ordered orbital scans again. Still nothing. Just static and silence. But far away, beyond Neptune, in the cold darkness of the Kuiper Belt, something woke up. A beacon flickered on an old relay station. It transmitted a single encrypted message to an unknown destination. The message was short: signal detected. Protocol Phoenix inactivated. Within hours, deep space came alive with motion. Hidden behind dust clouds and asteroid fields, thousands of ships powered up. Human ships. Silent, dark, and waiting. For 200 years, humanity had hidden. After losing half the species in the last galactic war, they disappeared, retreating to secret colonies, rebuilding in silence. They waited for the galaxy to forget them, and now the waiting was over. On board the HSS Resolute, Admiral Mira Vance opened her eyes. The cryo chamber hissed, releasing white mist. "Status report," she said. "Enemy fleet detected near Earth orbit," replied the ship's AI, calm and cold. Dravari Empire signature confirmed. Mira stared at the projection of Earth, her home, dead and cold. "So they found it," she whispered. "Then it's time. All units," she commanded. "Awaken the Armada." Across the hidden fleet, thousands of human soldiers opened their eyes. Engines roared to life. Massive carriers, stealth cruisers, and dreadnoughts powered up after centuries of sleep. "Target Earth system," Mira said. "No one touches our home." Back near Earth, the Dravari fleet continued scavenging the planet. They broke old human warships for scrap, studied ruins, and laughed at the extinct race. Then one of their outer patrol ships vanished. No distress signal, no wreckage, just gone. "Probably a system failure," said Threx, trying to stay calm. But then another ship vanished, and another. Suddenly, a voice came through the communication channel. In perfect Dravari language. "Leave our world." Threx froze. "Who is this?" "Identify yourself." No answer. Only static. The officer turned pale. "Admiral, the transmission came from orbit. From a ship." "That's impossible. There are no ships left in orbit." But then the darkness above Earth shimmered, as if the stars themselves were moving. One by one, massive human warships decloaked, their hulls black as night. The largest one bore the markings HSS Resolute. Admiral Mira Vance stood on the bridge, staring down at the Dravari ships below. "They thought we were gone," she said softly. "Let's remind them who we are." The AI's voice replied. "Orders, Admiral?" Her eyes hardened. "Engage." In an instant, the black void exploded into light. Human cannons fired beams so bright they blinded sensors. Dravari ships shattered under the first volley. Chaos filled the void. The aliens screamed for reinforcements, but their messages went nowhere. Mira watched silently as her ships moved with perfect precision. 2 centuries, she whispered. 2 centuries of silence, and now, vengeance. Threx tried to rally his fleet, but half of his ships were gone within minutes. "Retreat!" he shouted. "Retreat now." But as they turned, another wave of human ships appeared behind them. Thousands more, surrounding them completely, For the Dravari, the nightmare had returned. For humanity, it had just begun. The void around Earth was burning. Dravari ships twisted and exploded as human weapons tore through their shields. The silence that had once haunted the system was now filled with thunder and fire. For the first time in 2 centuries, Earth was alive again, alive with war. Admiral Mira Vance stood on the bridge of the HSS Resolute, eyes fixed on the chaos outside. "Report. Enemy formation collapsing," her tactical officer said. 73% losses. "Remaining ships are retreating toward lunar orbit." "Don't chase," Mira ordered. "Let them run for now." Her crew obeyed without question. Every human on board had trained their entire life for this moment. They were descendants of the survivors who fled the old wars. To them, Earth wasn't just a planet. It was a ghost that demanded justice. The ship's AI spoke quietly, its voice echoing through the deck. "Admiral, incoming transmission from the Dravari flagship." Mira folded her arms. "Put it through." The holoscreen flickered, revealing Admiral Threx. His scales were burned, his face full of disbelief and fury. "Impossible," he hissed. "You are extinct." Mira's voice was calm, almost cold. "You should have made sure," Threx glared. "The galaxy will unite against you again. You can't win." "We don't need to win," Mira said. "We just need you to remember." Before Threx could respond, the transmission cut off. "Admiral," the AI said, "enemy flagship attempting warp escape." Mira looked toward the dark horizon of space. "Disable them." A single human missile left the Resolute. It moved faster than light, wrapped in a shimmer of blue energy. A second later, the Dravari flagship vanished in a silent bloom of white light. The bridge went quiet. Mira exhaled slowly. "Begin recovery operations on Earth. I want every city scanned, every bunker checked, acknowledged." Far below, on the ruined surface of Earth, dust storms swept over the bones of the old world. Human drones descended from orbit, landing in the remains of shattered cities. They searched for signals, artifacts, anything left behind from the last days. In the center of what was once Geneva, a drone found something buried deep under the ground, a chamber still sealed, power faint but active. When the hatch opened, the cameras caught a glimpse of a cryopod. Inside lay a man, frozen, eyes closed, wearing the old uniform of the human coalition. The drone sent the data to the Resolute. Mira watched the feed in silence. "Identification?" she asked. "Name. General Elias Corrin," replied the AI. "He commanded the last defense of Earth." Mira stared at the image. She had grown up hearing stories about him, the man who refused to surrender when the rest of humanity fled. "Can we revive him?" "Yes, systems are stable. Estimated revival in 12 hours. Do it." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, panic spread among the Dravari. News of the human Armada reached their capital world within hours. The Council of Elders gathered in fear and confusion. "They cannot be back," one elder said. "We destroyed their fleets." "Then explain this." Another shouted, projecting images of the battle over Earth. Black human warships moved like shadows, firing weapons unseen for centuries. The council chamber erupted in arguments. "The humans must be contained before the other species learn," said Elder Ravox. "If the Alliance hears of this, they will remember the wars. They will remember why we feared them." "And if the Alliance sides with them?" asked another. Silence followed. For the first time in generations, the Dravari remembered what it felt like to be hunted. Back on the Resolute 12 hours later, the cryo chamber opened with a hiss. General Elias Corrin gasped as air filled his lungs for the first time in centuries. His eyes snapped open, scanning the unfamiliar room. Soldiers stood at attention around him. "Easy," Mira said, stepping forward. "You're safe, General. You're among your own." Corrin's voice was rough, dry. "Who are you?" "Mira Vance, Admiral of the Human Fleet. You're aboard the HSS Resolute." He looked around, confused. "The war? Did we lose?" "We survived," she said. "And we've been waiting." Slowly, realization filled his face. "How long?" 206 years. He sat in silence for a moment. Then the Dravari came back. Mira nodded. "They thought we were gone." Corrin stood, shaky but strong. Then they made the same mistake twice. Later, in the strategy chamber, the two leaders stared at a holographic map of the galaxy. Red marks showed the Dravari worlds, hundreds of them. Mira spoke first. We can't face their entire empire. Not yet, Corin smiled faintly. That's not what we'll do. They expect a war. We'll give them something else. What do you mean? We disappear again. But this time we strike from the dark. Every shipyard, every relay, every command post. We hit them where they can't see us. Make them believe we're everywhere. Mira studied him. A phantom war. Exactly, he said. They'll destroy themselves trying to find us. The AI interrupted. Admiral, long-range sensors detect multiple warp signatures approaching the Sol system. Not Dravari. Unknown configuration, Mira frowned. Identify. Scanning. Signatures match old Alliance designs. Multiple races. Elias stepped closer. Then the rest of the galaxy is noticed. The screen showed a vast formation of alien ships emerging from hyperspace. Some old enemies, some ancient allies. They had all come to see the truth for themselves. What now? Mira asked quietly. Elias looked out the viewport where Earth glowed faintly below them. Now, he said, we remind them why humanity should never be forgotten. Outside, the stars seemed to tremble, as if the galaxy itself was holding its breath. The alien fleet appeared like a wall of light above the Sol system. Hundreds of ships, different shapes, colors, and sizes, hung in the void. They came from every corner of the galaxy. Some belonged to races that had once fought beside humans. Others had tried to destroy them. Now they all stared at the impossible sight, the blue planet that was supposed to be dead, and the human armada surrounding it. On the bridge of the HSS Resolute, Admiral Mira Vance watched the incoming fleet in silence. Status? 250 ships detected, her officer reported. Mixed races. Alliance markings confirmed. Mira nodded slowly. They're early. I expected fear to keep them away longer. General Elias Coran stood beside her, dressed once again in his old black uniform. His presence was calm, steady. They didn't come for peace, he said. They came to see if the rumors are true. The AI's voice filled the command deck. Incoming hail from the Alliance flagship. Commander Vethra of the Cairn Collective request communication. Mira gave a short nod. Put her through. A tall insectoid figure appeared on the holoscreen. Her voice was sharp and metallic. Humans, she said, her large eyes narrowing. We believed your species extinct, and yet you return with weapons drawn. We return home, Mira replied. That is not an act of war. Your fleet destroyed the Dravari ships orbiting this planet, Vethra hissed. That is an act of war. Elias stepped forward. They defiled our home. They thought we were gone. You of all people should understand we do not forget our dead. Vethra studied him for a long moment. The galaxy remembers what you were, General Corin. We remember your wars, your anger. Mira's expression hardened. Then remember this too, we didn't start them. The screen went dark. Moments later, the sensors screamed. Multiple warp signatures. Shouted the officer. Dravari reinforcements incoming, 3 fleets approaching fast. Elias looked to Mira. They're coming for revenge. Mira's lips curved into a grim smile. Then let them come. The human ships shifted formation. Hundreds of black hulls turned like blades in the dark. The Alliance fleet remained motionless, watching. Admiral, the AI said, Alliance ships are powering weapons. Their captains appear divided, some preparing to engage, others holding position. Of course, Mira murmured. They can't decide whether we're the threat or the shield. Elias turned toward the viewport. Let them see who we are now. The first Dravari fleet entered the system, engines burning bright. They came in rage, firing before even locking targets. But the humans didn't move. Not yet. The Dravari missiles streaked toward Earth. Then they vanished. A red shimmer rippled across space as an invisible barrier came to life around the planet. The weapons exploded harmlessly against it. Shield field active, said the AI. Generated from Mars surface installations. Vethra's voice echoed over an open channel. Mars? She said in disbelief. You fortified Mars? Mira smiled faintly. Not fortified, she said. Transformed. On the red planet deep under the sands, machines awakened. Massive towers rose from the surface like black spires. Energy arced between them, forming a network that pulsed with light. From the largest canyon, Valles Marineris, giant gates opened, revealing hidden shipyards buried for centuries. Thousands of new human warships launched into the sky. Sleek, silent, black as the void, the Alliance fleets watched in shock. They had thought the human armada near Earth was the last of them, but now 10 times that number rose from Mars. "By the stars," whispered Vethra. "You've been rebuilding for centuries." Mira's voice came through the open channel, steady and proud. "We waited. We learned. We prepared. Humanity doesn't die, we evolve." The Mars fleets formed up, joining the defenders around Earth. The combined human formation glowed like a dark storm, surrounding the system with precision and strength. The Dravari Armada hesitated. For the first time, their ships slowed. Elias gave a sharp nod. "Now," he said. Hundreds of human ships accelerated at once. Lasers, railguns, plasma bursts filled the void. The Dravari never stood a chance. Every formation they tried to build collapsed under the human onslaught. The Alliance ships watched in stunned silence. Within minutes, the second Dravari fleet jumped in, then the third, and one by one, they were annihilated. When the last explosion faded, the stars returned to stillness. The HSS Resolute hovered at the center. Untouched, enemy fleets neutralized, the AI confirmed. No survivors detected. Elias looked at Mira. "They'll send more. They won't stop until we take the fight to them." Mira nodded slowly. "I know." Vethra appeared again on the screen, her voice quiet now. "You've become something else," she said. "Something far more dangerous." Mira met her gaze. "We became what the galaxy made us." Vethra hesitated. "What will you do now?" Elias answered for her. "We go home first, then we go hunting." The insectoid commander's eyes widened. "You intend to invade the Dravari Empire?" Mira's expression didn't change. "We intend to finish what they started." The channel closed. Later, as the human fleets regrouped, Mira walked to the viewport. Earth floated below, scarred but beautiful. "Admiral," the AI said softly. "Restoration teams report first success. Atmospheric filters online. Oceans showing signs of recovery." For the first time in her life, Mira smiled. "Welcome back, Mother Earth." Elias joined her, watching the slow rebirth of the planet. "When I fought the last war," he said, "I thought we were finished. I never believed we'd rise again." She turned to him. "We didn't rise because of hope, General. We rose because the universe forgot who we were." He nodded slowly. "Then let's remind them." Outside the window, the human fleet moved like a storm of light and shadow, forming a spear that pointed toward the stars. In the darkness beyond Mars, a single transmission left the Resolute, carrying across the galaxy. "Humanity has returned. We remember everything." The message echoed through the void, reaching every world, every empire, every race that had once thought humanity gone. And in distant star systems, leaders and soldiers alike began to feel something they hadn't felt in centuries: fear. The Dravari Empire had no time to recover. From the shadows beyond the Sol system, human ships moved with ghost-like precision. Warp gates that had been secret for centuries opened, flinging massive fleets into the heart of enemy territory. No warnings, no diplomacy, only sudden, overwhelming firepower. On board the HSS Resolute, Admiral Mira Vance studied the tactical map. Red dots marked Dravari worlds, vulnerable, exposed, and unprepared. "First target the Zarkon shipyard," she said. "We hit fast and vanish before they can organize a response." General Elias Corrin stood beside her, eyes fixed on the holographic display. "The Dravari think we're a single fleet. Let's give them nightmares." The Resolute jumped into warp, followed by the stealth cruisers and dreadnoughts. In minutes, they arrived at the outer edges of the Zarkon system. The Dravari defenses were strong, but not enough. The humans struck first. Massive plasma cannons tore through orbital fortresses. Railguns shattered defensive stations before the alarm could even sound. Dravari fighters scrambled to intercept, but human stealth ships dissolved into the void, appearing behind the enemy lines, firing devastating volleys. "Damage report," Mira demanded. "Shipyard completely neutralized. Enemy fleets destroyed. Casualties minimal," the AI replied. Elias allowed himself a grim smile. "Just like old times," he muttered. In the Dravari capital, panic reached fever pitch. Council chambers shook as war reports poured in. Entire shipyards had vanished in hours. Worlds that were secure for centuries were now in flames. Elder Ravok slammed his clawed hand against the table. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "We outnumber them 1,000 to 1. A junior officer hesitated. We don't understand, sir. Their ships, they appear from nowhere. Their weapons strike with impossible speed. Impossible! Ravux roared. They were extinct. The room fell silent. Every elder remembered the stories. Humans had been unpredictable, cunning, and ruthlessly fast in war. And now the survivors had returned, stronger than ever. Back in the Sol system, the human fleet regrouped near Mars. Mira's eyes were on the stars. "This is only the beginning," she said softly. "They will send everything they have at us." Elias nodded. "They won't find us, not yet. But they will learn quickly that humanity is not to be trifled with." The AI interrupted. "Admiral, sensors detect a new Dravari fleet approaching from the Andros cluster. Estimated strength, 15,000 vessels. They're coordinating for a counterattack." Mira exhaled. "Let them come. Prepare Project Nemesis." Deep within Mars, the humans' most guarded secret waited. Project Nemesis. Built over 2 centuries. Hidden beneath the Martian surface, it was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Vast black structures housed weapons that could tear planets apart, dismantle entire fleets, and disrupt warp fields. The designs were based on old human technology, amplified 100-fold. The crew of the HSS Resolute moved through the corridors with purpose. Engineers, soldiers, and AI specialists activated the systems. Lights pulsed, screens flickered, and a low hum filled the air. Mira stepped into the command center. "Nemesis online?" The AI responded, voice calm but serious. "Fully operational, Admiral. Energy reserves at maximum. Weapons ready." Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. "Do you know what this means?" Mira nodded. "It means we end the war on our terms. No half measures, no mercy. If they think they can challenge humanity again, we'll show them why no one should ever forget us." Across the Dravari Empire, alarms blared. 15,000 vessels hurtled toward the Sol system, fully armed. War flags flew, weapons charged, commanders shouting orders. Every sensor was on high alert. But when they entered the Sol system, they found something they didn't expect. Nothing. The black human fleet had vanished. Not a single ship was visible. The Dravari were blind. Their fleet searched the empty space for hours, unsure if the humans had fled or were hiding. Then it began. Out of hyperspace, thousands of human stealth ships appeared behind enemy lines. They moved silently, striking critical nodes, supply depots, command stations, and orbital weapons platforms. Explosions lit up the void, followed by eerie silence. The Dravari struggled to react. They tried to organize counterattacks, but the humans were everywhere at once. They had become shadows, ghosts, impossible to pin down. From Mars, Project Nemesis activated. Energy beams shot across the system, disabling Dravari warp drives, cutting communications, and tearing through capital ships. One by one, the enormous fleet fell into chaos. Elder Ravux could barely comprehend what he was seeing. This is not war, it is annihilation. On board the Resolute, Mira watched the destruction. "Nemesis is performing exactly as designed," she said. Elias smiled faintly. "They won't be able to hide now. Every system knows humanity is back." The AI chimed in. Enemy command centers disabled. Warp capabilities compromised. Dravari fleet scattered and leaderless. Mira's eyes glinted. "Prepare for Phase 2. We strike the heart of the Empire next." Elias looked at her. "Are you ready to show the galaxy what humanity can do?" She nodded. "They thought we were gone. They thought the human armada was extinct. They thought they could rebuild without fear. They were wrong." Outside, the stars seemed to tremble as the human fleet moved silently, inexorably toward the Dravari homeworlds. And somewhere, deep in the void, the message of humanity's return spread faster than light. "We are here, we remember, and we will not forgive." The Dravari homeworld burned in panic. Signals from their scattered fleets warned of the human armada approaching at impossible speeds. Entire planetary defense networks had collapsed under the twin fury of the Sol system fleet and Project Nemesis. Cities were evacuated in chaos, and civilians were sent underground as massive evacuation transports tried to flee. But even as fear spread, the Dravari leaders refused to surrender. Admiral Threx, burned and humiliated, watched the human ships materialize in orbit. Their black hulls shimmered like shadows, moving in perfect formation. He could not comprehend their speed, their precision, or the scale of their power. "They were gone, but now, they are everywhere," he muttered. On board the HSS Resolute, Admiral Mira Vance observed the Dravari world with cold calculation. "Phase 1 complete," she said. "Now Phase 2 begins." General Elias Corrin's eyes gleamed. Let's remind them what humanity can do. The invasion began silently. Human stealth ships infiltrated orbital defenses, cutting communications and disabling shield generators. Massive dreadnoughts cloaked until the last moment appeared over key cities and military installations. Project Nemesis fired from Mars, ripping the Dravari orbital stations apart in seconds. The Dravari tried to respond. Swarms of fighters launched, fleets moved to intercept, and defensive grids activated. But the humans were already inside the system. They moved faster than anyone could track. From the bridge of the Resolute, Mira watched a Dravari command hub collapse under a single concentrated Nemesis beam. They won't last long, she said. Elias walked beside her. Do you feel it, the fear? They thought us extinct. Now they know. We are beyond anything they imagined. Mira nodded. And we are just getting started. Deep underground on the Dravari capital, council chambers shook as alarms blared. Elder Ravox banged his claw against the table, shaking it violently. How can they do this? He roared. Our fleets, our cities, they fall without warning. The humans are unstoppable. A junior officer shivered. Sir, it's Project Nemesis. And the stealth fleets, they are everywhere at once. There is no way to predict them. Ravox's eyes glinted with desperation. Then we fight where they are weakest. We lure them into a trap. But Elias Corrin had anticipated this. On board the Resolute, the human fleet had already begun a surgical assault. Human fighters struck isolated Dravari reinforcements before they could organize. Stealth frigates destroyed planetary railguns, while dreadnoughts obliterated fortresses designed to withstand centuries of war. No Dravari weapon survived long enough to react. Every move, every counter had already been predicted. This is unreal, said a tactical officer, awestruck. They're everywhere. No fleet can survive this, Elias smiled. They aren't just everywhere. They're smarter, faster, and stronger than ever before. Humanity has learned from every mistake, every defeat, every loss. Mira's gaze remained steady. We will not stop until the Dravari Empire is broken. Not destroyed completely, but humbled. They must know the cost of underestimating us. Back in orbit, the human armada pushed deeper. The Dravari mobilized desperate measures. Entire continents were evacuated to underground shelters. Ships in orbit were sacrificed to slow the human advance. Yet, with every attack, humanity's shadow fleet struck faster, hit harder, and vanished before retaliation. On the ground, sensors detected movement beneath the planet's surface. Ancient human-designed war machines left behind during the original wars had been rebuilt in secret by hidden agents. Giant automated defense systems powered up, targeting Dravari strongholds with precision artillery fire. It's like ghosts of the old wars have returned, whispered a Dravari officer. Yes, replied Elder Ravox grimly, and they are more terrifying than history remembers. The Alliance fleets, who had watched humanity's rise with both awe and fear, were now forced to choose sides. Some advocated support for humanity, believing the Dravari had gone too far. Others feared that the humans were too powerful and needed to be contained. Commander Vethra of the Chiron Collective observed the battle from her flagship. They do not fight like any other species, she said. They move as one, yet strike individually. Their fleet is vast, yet perfectly coordinated. And that Project Nemesis, it makes their attacks unavoidable. Her second-in-command shivered. If they turn on the Alliance next, none of us will survive. Vethra's gaze hardened. Then we must watch carefully. Humanity has returned, and the galaxy will never be the same. As the Dravari planetary defenses crumbled, Mira made her next move. Prepare the orbital command node, she ordered. We will broadcast a message, one last warning. Give them a chance to surrender before we hit the core. Elias raised an eyebrow. And if they refuse? We strike, she said simply. But they won't forget why humanity survived. They won't forget who returned. Across the stars, humans moved with ruthless efficiency. Ships swarmed the Dravari capital, Project Nemesis disabling war engines, stealth frigates cutting communications, and dreadnoughts raining destruction from orbit. The Dravari watched their world fall apart in disbelief. Every century of arrogance, every assumption that humanity had vanished, crumbled in hours. On the Resolute, Mira whispered to Elias, They thought us gone. But we remembered, and now the galaxy will too. The stars outside reflected the light of thousands of human warships, a silent declaration. Humanity was back. Stronger, smarter, and unstoppable. The Dravari capital burned under the unrelenting assault of the human armada. From orbit, Admiral Mira Vance watched the destruction with cold determination. Cities that had stood for centuries crumbled in firestorms. Warships once thought invincible disintegrated under Project Nemesis. Yet she felt no joy. Humanity had returned, but the cost of centuries of hiding and preparation weighed heavily. Beside her, General Elias Corrin observed the chaos. "They thought they could hide from history," he said quietly. "They never imagined what we became in silence." Mira's eyes never left the planet. They still have one choice: to surrender and survive, or resist and be erased from memory. Across the shattered surface, Dravari leaders convened underground. Elder Ravox's claws shook as he slammed the table. "We underestimated them. Every fleet we sent, destroyed. Every defense, bypassed." A junior officer stammered, "Sir, the humans. They strike before we even detect them. They're Project Nemesis. It's unmatched. We can't win." Ravox's face hardened with grim realization. "Then we survive however we can, hide, delay, buy time. For the Empire." But the Empire had no time. Outside, stealth frigates disabled the final orbital cannons. Dreadnoughts cut through fleets in seconds. Project Nemesis pulsed across the planet, dismantling energy grids, satellite arrays, and the remnants of war infrastructure. The humans had become unstoppable, not just a fleet, but a force of nature. From Mars, black ships poured into the Dravari system, joining the forces above Earth. Their presence alone demoralized the defenders. Project Nemesis activated in full capacity, creating a wave of energy that destabilized planetary shields and disabled enemy warp drives. The Dravari fleet's remaining forces could not escape, could not fight. On board the Resolute, Mira's calm voice cut through the tension. "Prepare the final strike. Disable all planetary command nodes simultaneously. Then we give them a choice: surrender or extinction." Elias nodded, fingers tightening around the rail. "It's time they remember who humanity is." In the capital's underground chambers, Elder Ravox's voice trembled. They cannot be stopped. Every defense gone, every fleet destroyed. And their message: they are not here for war alone. They are here to remind us why humans ruled the stars before. The council panicked. Communications with distant worlds failed. Dravari citizens watched in horror as their capital's orbit erupted in blinding light. They had underestimated the humans, thinking them extinct. That mistake would cost them everything. Mira activated the communication channel to the planet. Her voice was steady, commanding, and clear. "People of the Dravari Empire, this is Admiral Mira Vance of the Human Armada. Your fleets have fallen. Your defenses are destroyed. You may surrender and preserve life or resist and face annihilation. Humanity remembers. We do not forgive. Decide wisely," silence answered. The Dravari had no leaders, no strategy, no hope. They had fought an enemy they thought was gone, and now that enemy had returned, perfected. Elias watched the planet slowly quiet. "Will they surrender?" he asked. Mira's eyes did not leave the viewport. "They have no choice." And then it happened. The remaining Dravari fleets powered down, the planetary command centers surrendered. The empire that had once feared humanity now knelt, figuratively, if not literally, before the resurgence of the human armada. From orbit, humans deployed occupation forces. They restored order not to enslave but to show strength, intelligence, and mercy. Human engineers repaired essential infrastructure, while soldiers maintained strict watch. The message was clear. Humanity had returned, not to conquer but to ensure that no one ever underestimated them again. In the Alliance observation post, Commander Vethra watched the events unfold. Her eyes narrowed. "They are beyond anything we imagined. Not just soldiers, but thinkers, engineers, and strategists. Humanity is unstoppable." Her second-in-command shivered. "If the human armada sets its sights on the rest of the galaxy," Vethra's gaze was steady, "then the galaxy will have to remember what we always feared. Humans never truly disappear. They survive, they adapt, and they rise stronger than ever." On the Resolute, Mira turned to Elias. "It is done. The Dravari Empire is broken, not destroyed but humbled. The galaxy has learned the truth. Humanity is back," Elias smiled faintly, "and they will never forget us again." Outside, the stars seemed brighter, reflecting the black, gleaming hulls of thousands of human ships. A fleet that had emerged from the shadows, hidden for centuries, now ruled the void, not through tyranny but through strength, unity, and the unyielding spirit of humanity. Mira's voice carried across the bridge, quiet but powerful. We were gone, yes. Forgotten, yes. But we remembered, and that is why we survived. That is why humanity will never fall again. The HSS Resolute and the Armada remained in orbit, guardians of a blue world slowly healing from centuries of neglect. The galaxy had witnessed the return of humanity, and no one, not the Dravari, not any other empire, would ever underestimate them again. And somewhere, in the vastness of space, the simple truth echoed: humanity remembered. Humanity returned. Humanity dominates, not because we seek war, but because we refuse to be forgotten.